requests for $15 an hour wages for city staff, including stories shared by Asheville firefighters starting at $11.94 an hour, concern around lack of funding for an urban forester, with 19 speakers requesting full funding for the Transit Master Plan. This included an additional 157 participants who ceded time, signed on to group efforts, and had personal stories read from postcards written as their experience as bus riders of necessity. The council does not typically provide their own comments, though some spoke in advance of the public hearing, as did the new city manager, Deborah Campbell, who named three limitations for the implementation of the evening service hours for transit as funding, competition for funding from other community needs, and whether or not buses would be available in time. Now for this week's events. Monday's regularly scheduled Buncombe Planning Board meeting has been canceled due to a lack of agenda items. This Tuesday, as the budget hearing for Buncombe County's $334 million budget comes up, new County Manager Avril Pender will lead and has been in position for just a few months. Her presentation at the last meeting included new staff positions to address the Commission's strategic goals, and commissioners are pushing forward major investments in affordable housing, opioid crisis response, and early childhood education. As part of the agenda, Buncombe County has released an interactive budget explorer. There is also a proposal for strategic partnership funds, which includes program funding for many community nonprofits, showing a decrease of more than $20,000 from last year's funding for Green Opportunities, while providing new funding for Elida Homes to provide, quote, access to mental health prevention for vulnerable youth, end quote. Both of those documents will be linked in this post. Some community concerns are building around not fully funding requests from schools, with both the city and county schools presenting achievement and growth in different metrics, and both districts showing lower enrollment due to increasing numbers of families choosing charter, private, and homeschool for students. If you would like to speak in public hearing for this commission meeting or in the future, consider these tips from our local Democracy is Boring group. The location for Buncombe County Commission meetings is at 200 College Street, Suite 326 in downtown Asheville. They start at 5 o'clock. The agenda is available in advance of the meeting. You can get to the building from the front or the back entrance and take the elevator to the third floor. Follow signage to the meeting. Security may ask to look in your bag, but will not ask for other information. You'll go through metal detectors and then the doors to the chamber to find your seat. The front row is typically reserved for staff and media. If all the seats are full, an overflow will have a screen so you can watch the meeting until there might be capacity in the main room. The fire marshals will come to the overflow room and let you know when a seat opens up, which typically happens after proclamations and/or a consent agenda, which are at the beginning of the meeting. Food is not allowed, and closed beverage containers are suggested. Restrooms are available on each floor of the building. Ask staff for a key if restrooms are locked. For public comment, there will be a table outside the chambers where you may be able to speak up in advance, or to sign up to speak in advance, Commission has 3 times for public comment on their agenda, so you can sign up to speak on the consent agenda once a motion is made, during public hearings like the budget hearing, when the chair calls for public comment, or at the end of the meeting, which is for public comment that's something that's not on the budget or the agenda. So if you have an issue on something in your neighborhood that you're concerned about that isn't currently being addressed, you can speak at the end of the meeting. During public comment, you can speak for 3 minutes or 10 minutes if you have a group of 8 or more people that are willing to cede their time and speak as a group with one representative. When the chair calls for comment, raise your hand or stand, and then you're on camera once you stand up to the podium. So take a breath, speak into the mic. There's a light on the podium that'll turn yellow when your time is getting close, and when time runs out, you'll hear a beep and a red light. If you have documents or additional comments, you can submit them to the clerk. You can still speak in public comment even if you're in an overflow room. Just ask to speak with a staff member in advance. So public comment is a really good way to express your personal needs, your experience in the community, maybe provide additional ideas that haven't been brought up in the press or in the meetings already, and also just to let your elected officials know what matters to you and your community as they're making these important decisions that affect our everyday lives. Thank you so much to the staff here at JM Pro for doing the weekly updates and to our viewers for watching.